Welcome to Sled Storm. I'm your host, Kurt Baldwin.
And I'm the sidekick, AJ Rollins, bro.
Inviting you to join us for this extra special live EA Sports Big Network broadcast.
Get up, so I gotta rock the place. 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 Come on!
If you haven't been following the development of Sled Storm for the PlayStation 2, it's gone through quite a few twists and turns since it was originally shown. When it was originally shown, Electronic Arts thought that the levels and just the overall look of the game really didn't live up to other games that have fallen under their EA Sports Big label. So they basically told the development team to go back and redo the levels and make sure that the graphics were up to par with everything else. The extra effort has paid off because the tracks in the game look really nice, but Sled Storm still suffers from a few problems, one of which is some rubber band AI. There are a few modes to choose from in Sled Storm. You can do a time attack or you can do a single race on any of the tracks that you've unlocked, but the real focus of the game is the championship mode. In this mode, you'll be able to unlock new riders and new sleds, each of which has different abilities and different speeds, so as you progress through the game, you'll be able to have access to faster sleds and be able to compete with some of the more difficult opponents. You'll find that the controls in the game are really easy to get into. You press the X button to accelerate, the circle button to brake. By pressing different shoulder button combinations, you can execute different tricks, and depending on the combination that you use, the tricks will get more and more difficult and more complex, but you'll get more points and your turbo meter will charge faster. Unfortunately, because of the rubber band AI in the game, there really is no reason to do tricks or even use turbo in the first 2 laps of a track. The AI in the game has been designed so that you can basically set the controller down for 10 seconds, walk away from the game, come back, and still catch up to the guy in first place. Conversely, if you're in first place for most of the race, your opponents will always be behind you. If you make a single mistake, they'll pass you in a second. So really using tricks to fill up the turbo meter and using the turbo meter itself only really comes into a play during the last track and during the last few seconds right before the finish line, where you'll need that extra boost just to get away for a few seconds from the rest of the pack. As mentioned earlier, the graphics in the game are really well done. The tracks in the game are enormous and there's plenty of details. And the design actually gets progressively more insane as you progress through the game. For example, the first track is pretty subdued. I mean, it looks like a basic mountain course, but as you get to the later tracks in the game, you'll encounter things like circuses and haunted houses and giant lobsters and crazy things like that. In each of these tracks, there's also plenty of shortcuts and alternate routes that you can take, some of which won't actually help you, some will actually hurt you in the long run. But in general, the level design is actually really good, and you'll have a lot of fun going through each track trying to find which route is the best to take. The sound in the game is also very similar to that in SSX. The commentary is provided by Mean Gene Okerlund of the WWF, along with Matthew Lillard from Scream, who's incredibly annoying, but they don't actually speak all that much during the game, so you'll never really notice it, or it won't ever really bother you. The music in the game is all pretty much techno and it fits the theme of the game well, but there's nothing that really stands out. The rubber band AI in the game is pretty annoying in the initial stages of the game, but as you get access to faster sleds, it becomes less apparent. But overall, the trick system has been adapted well to the game. It's a lot of fun, the tracks are a lot of fun to go through and explore, and if you're looking for a challenge, Sled Storm will definitely give it to you.